All right, what we're going to go over today is talking about how to load the Minuteman load on a top load style engine. So this is an old Quantum, but it's a top load style. So the pre-connect for any of our crosslays is going to be on the bottom rather than the pre-connect being on the top and any of our newer engines where we have the tray. So for this one, you can see crosslay number 1 is already loaded. We're going to reload this one in just a moment, but this is how it looks when we come up to look at the crosslay. This is an onside pull for the crosslay of a top load style engine. So what we see here is the pre-connect is at the bottom. The supply is on the right, having 2 bites, big enough so you could get gloved fingers through and pull the supply. And then on the left, you have your attack or shoulder load, where this is what you'd actually be pulling onto your shoulder, what you see in the other videos that we made. So this is where this is designed to be pulled from, is the engineer side of the engine on the top load style. This is what you see when you look up to it. This flat piece of hose here, 2 bites here, indicating that, hey, here's the nozzle up here. This is where I would pull it from. You can pull it from either side, but we'll go over that in the other video. And now we're going to go over how to load this from this side of the engine. Alright, so again, we're going to start with the supply side because the pre-connect is at the bottom. The supply is going to be on the right. We've already got it pre-connected to the bottom. If we were to start with the shoulder load, it would be more difficult to pre-connect it, so we start with the supply when we're loading the top load style. First thing we're going to do, after it's been pre-connected on the bottom, is make a fold just past the baffles. All of our folds will be just past the baffles, and there will be a difference between folds and bites. Okay, on our second fold, we make a bite big enough for a gloved finger with your burn gloves to be able to grab this and pull it. We keep on loading just the supply section only, which if you're facing the pump panel, it's just on your right. You just keep on loading, accordion style, until the coupling comes onto the engine. After the coupling, you can see we made another bite. So your bites are placed, your 2 bites are placed after the first fold and just after the coupling. All the rest of the folds all the way up are going just past the baffles until you have a male coupling, which now you can just lay that in the middle. And if you have the tool like we have, you can actually lay it over the baffle and over the hose to keep this hose to the right. There's just a little sleeve that goes over the baffle and over the hose to keep the hose from falling over to the left as we load the shoulder load section. So we have our 2 bites, we have our supply fully loaded. Now, as we load, hold on one second. As we load the shoulder load, you can see we've got the nozzle already pre-attached, but we just want about 2 feet to hang down so that you have enough room that when you fold this over the rest of the accordion load, it's going to sit on top of your shoulder load. So we'll keep on loading accordion style. Leaving the nozzle hanging down over the pump panel. On the other side, we'll talk about this when we load it from the other side. On the other side, he's made a bite on his first fold, is a bite. The rest of the folds all the way up on this top side, top style load, it's just folds, just past the baffles, all the way up. The coupling goes on. There's no bites or anything else. It's just folds all the way up.
coupling, add the coupling.
All right, so now, as you can see, we've got folds all the way up on the left side. That's our shoulder load or attack. We've got the nozzle hanging down. He's taken the tool out from the inside. He's got a male coupling from the supply and the female from the attack. He's attaching those at the top in the middle. We still have our bites right here. Go ahead and put that. He's gonna take the nozzle and fold it right over the top. If there was a paracord or a strap to be placed around the attack section, they would do so. As you can see, this looks just how we started before we pulled it, with our 2 bites on the supply that you can fit a gloved finger through. And then we've got our shoulder load section or our attack section right here that would be pulling onto our right shoulder. All right, now we're gonna go over what happens after the fire. Okay, you bring all the hose lines out, you drain all the hose, even from DCing the pre-connects themselves to reload the trays. We're gonna go through everything and show you how to reload these trays on one of these Impel Pug chassis. Okay, so the first thing that we see, we're gonna start with the onside pull, which is cross lane number 2. You might be able to see all the way on the other side. That's where the pre-connect is. Firefighter Teal is disconnecting at the pre-connect.
Disconnected.
Okay, so we can pull the hose line out. There's a little switch right here that you flip up to get the tray out. Trays come out, set them on the ground. As opposed to the top load engines, we'll start with the nozzle itself. So we'll grab the nozzle from over here, we'll bring all the hose lines over. We always have to think about how we pull this off the engine. With the trays, you can load them the exact same way, whether you start with the nozzle on the left side or the right side. From where I'm standing, it doesn't matter, because you can always switch the tray around before you slide it onto the engine. What you need to make sure is that the person who is actually looking at where the nozzle goes on, that nozzle goes on the left, not on the right. That's important for deployment purposes. You always have to set yourself up for success. We do it the same way, so it gets deployed the same way every single time. So leave a couple feet out from the nozzle. We're gonna start with just our folds. On the other side, where Firefighter Teal is, as we load this up, he's going to make a bite. Not just a fold, but a bite. We're gonna keep everything to one side. For the rest of this load on the attack section, we'll just be making folds as opposed to little bites that would allow you to bring it out of the tray. Again, this is the attack section, so it's just folds all the way up. We won't need bites for a gloved hand to pull it off. We have a coupling, making sure that we're only putting 100 feet on the attack side. Now that we have 100 feet on the attack side, we're going to disconnect. And we're going to start from the supply side. Now, this being a tray instead of a top load, we have to remember to start with the male side, because the female side of the supply load will be actually connecting to the top pre-connect once we slide this in. So again, he's gone just about 1.5 to 2 feet out with the male side. This gets left off to the side for now, and we're gonna load up the rest of the supply side. On the second fold, on both sides, there will be a bite. Just like we did on the top load engine. Then we'll continue to make folds until we have a coupling on, which we do now. So now, after the coupling is on, we'll make another bite for ease of deployment. Things to remember as you finish your 100 feet of the supply section. You don't want to get mixed up which female coupling goes to the pre-connect. Make sure it is the supply section's female coupling that stays out. Okay, so we're gonna make sure our male coupling from our supply side gets connected to the female coupling of the attack side. As you can see, just looking at this, you can see which side is supply and which side is attack. The nozzle's not coming on this side, so we have a bite at the bottom. If you were to deploy off the off side, you'd be able to pull this bite and shove the attack section all the way onto your shoulder. With the supply section, you have two bites that you'll be able to grab with a gloved hand and dump the supply section off with your left hand. This will be covering it. Make no mistake that you have to check which is your on side. If you don't already know, just by looking at which crosslay is which, you'll be able to see that this crosses over and connects to another coupling off of the attack. So this is what it looks like from your offside pull. On the other side, your on side, you have your two bites on your supply section on the right. Then you have your nozzle, which folds over on the left. You'll be pulling this shoulder load and dumping this supply load. This being the number 2 crosslay, this is an onside pull. So paying attention to where your pre-connect is important when you're getting ready to load this tray down through the middle of the engine. We want the nozzle to end up close to this side. The pre-connect will be on the opposite end. So I'm going to leave this female coupling close to this side so it's easily accessible when it's time to make that connection. We're going to lift up. We're going to place the tray and begin to slide it through to the other side. Firefighter Teal, I'll have you go to the other side. As we slide it in, Firefighter Teal can reach in and grab the coupling. We're going to hold a little bit short of sliding it all the way in. That way on the other side, you'll follow me to the other side. Okay, from this side, we're still the onside from the captains and crosslay number 2. So Firefighter Sandoval is able to push it through till Firefighter Teal is able to grab the pre-connect. Go ahead and hold short. We're gonna hold short a little bit, allow him to make his pre-connect. After it's connected, you can move it out of the way, and then ask Firefighter Sandoval to continue to slide the rest of the tray all the way in until it's secure. When it's secure, this latch right here has popped up on the other side, meaning that if you pull these trays, it will have the stop on both sides. So again, from here, we know this is the offside pull. We see this section of hose, flat section of hose, is connected to another coupling, not a nozzle. On the other side, we'll actually see the nozzle.